Hey sweet friends, this is Gina. Welcome to the Rebookery channel. I'm going to hop on really quickly and show you 3 journals that I'm going to put in my Etsy shop on Sunday. Let's see, today's the 4th, tomorrow's the 5th, 6th, 7th. So Sunday, October 7th. I'll put these in, let's go 9 a.m. Central Time. And yeah, let me just jump in and I'll show you what they look like. So this one was an old reader called the Up and Down, or Up the Street and Down. And so I just used the original book. This was the teacher's edition, so it's a little bit thicker. And it has a piece of some vintage fabric that I've stitched and turned into the wraparound, so it can wrap around like this. And then what I did on this one is I just kind of have this little fringy stuff, some cheesecloth and some other types of, I don't know, fringe and strings just kind of hanging off of it. And then on the inside, this is some of my absolute favorite vintage fabric that I got at an epic estate sale about a year ago. So if you've watched my videos, you've heard me talk about that estate sale. So this is some of that fabric. This has 3 signatures and there's lots of fabric, some pockets, some peek holes, fold outs, pages from other books, pocket, some of my favorite letterhead paper that I just found not too long ago, and oh my gosh, it is my favorite. It is so, I have 2 different types of it, and the texture of it is, it's amazing. So yeah, I'm excited. I love writing on it. I've put some of it in my journals, and I love writing on it. Here's another piece of it. It's just got this nice tooth to it, and oh, it's just awesome. And then it's got this cool little letterhead. And like I said, there's 2 different kinds that I have, so I put them in these journals. There's a pocket with a little peek hole. And then, I don't know if I said this already, but I've got other children's book pages in here because there weren't any book pages that I could salvage from this reader because it was like a teacher's edition, so there wasn't a lot of, you know, cool illustrations and stuff like that. So this is some vocabulary or spelling book paper that I turned into a pocket. That letterhead again. Lots of book covers, some old book covers that I've stitched together. And then here's another fabric pocket. There's another book cover. If you can hear my dog in the background, he is being a very bad dog right now. So he's running around and barking his head off. He is not a real dog. Like, he doesn't know how to play. Look at that security envelope. Isn't that the coolest? He's not a real dog. He doesn't know how to play with other dogs. But when the other dogs are outside playing, like they're outside playing catch right now, he stands at the door and he barks at them. So yeah. If he could be a real dog, I'd let him go out and play, but he won't be a real dog. Okay, so there's one. This one, so this is an interesting one. I was playing around with fabric on this one. And I ended up using an old sweater of mine, a felted sweater. So this was a sweater that I loved, and I felted it, which it's a process of washing it in really hot water, like with tennis balls and stuff. And what it'll do is it shrinks the sweater, but it turns it into felt. And you have to use, it has to be wool, 100% wool, and it has to be certain type of wool. Like, I've tried it with different sweaters and they didn't work. It cannot have any, you know, like Angora or anything mixed in it. It has to be, I don't know. I don't know. There's a whole process for it. But anyway, so I felted it a long time ago, and I just happened to have a big piece of it. And so I thought I would just make the book cover out of this. So it's a really squishy, cozy book cover, and just a really squishy journal. So it's soft cover, soft spine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 signatures, has vintage sheet for its tie or its wraparound. It has an old nursery rhyme book, just like the front part of the book cover. So I took the whole book cover apart, and this is just the paper that went around the front. You can see it's kind of torn and tattered. So it's sewn onto the sweater, and then the back has the same cover, just like a piece of paper from that front cover, and it's been sewn on and got messy stitches and some old fabric. And then this is some really big rickrack, and I got this from a trip I made this summer to the Missouri Star Quilting Company, and in one of their little stores they were selling trim, and so I bought some of that trim, and then it's just got a key tied to it with a little safety pin. Inside is some vintage sheets, pieces of a quilt. This has been like a little pocket, just a little tie right here that's connected to this one. And then the back is pretty much the same way. Got a pocket, little card here, and then here are the signatures. So envelope, scrapbook paper, some old kids book pages, some of my good letterhead again, writing paper, game paper, envelopes, lots of stitching, lots of my fabric trims, and these were all, a lot of these are ones that I got from my trip that I made to Missouri Star Quilting Company and in Hamilton, Missouri. And so I just love using those little scraps. I know they're not vintage. I like to use vintage and upcycled and all that stuff, but this was kind of a splurge trip. And so I bought some of their pretty fabric. It was their vintage collection. And so it looks like old feed sacks and stuff. And then I just chopped them up and I use them as little bits when I'm sewing. This is a piece of flannel, and this is an old piece of flannel. This is old sweater, some trim, and then this is a like a wallpaper book, only it's not wallpaper. It was like drapery and fabric, so upholstery, and it was a sample book, and it had these sample pieces, and so I stitched them together and I made a pocket. And then some stationery, an envelope attached to like a note card. I love those note cards that fold out. And then here's the back part of that upholstery. So another pocket right here, piece of fabric, and that trim. This is an envelope that I put it together, stitched it together, and then cut out the side to make it as a pocket. There's a piece of office stationery. Here's one of those note cards that you fold out. An envelope, and I did some stitching around it. Ooh, I love that image. Here's the envelope. Calendar page with some fabric, pocket. This was some tablet paper that had a little kid's drawing on it, or maybe it's an adult's drawing, I don't know, but it had a drawing on it, and I thought it was cool just to kind of leave that to show that this paper has had a past life. So here's the other side of that, and I like the little smiley faces, only it's a little sad face. Some stationery, calendar page again, and then the back page. So there's that one. This is the Nursery Tales book. And then the final book that I have this time is a soft cover, soft spine. It is 5 signatures. It is similar to my Inside Out journals, but it's not a complete inside out. The Inside Out journals have a trifold. This does not have a trifold. This is just a front and back cover. Vintage sheet that wraps around for your tie. There's a doily on the front. There's an old milk tag that I have sewn to this. Messy stitches. Hand stitched around the front cover. because this is a Reader's Digest book cover that I have made into a pocket. So it's been hand stitched, and then this will be a pocket. And then on the back, it's the same thing. So hand stitched with some messy stitches, and then this will be a pocket. So the book cover will be a pocket. So it's similar to the Inside Out in that there's a book cover on the inside. It's just not a trifold. So with this one, again, followed like the same recipe type. I was thinking more of like Holly Hobby themed or Precious Moments themed. So you'll see a lot of those 1970s, 1980s classic figures of those Holly Hobby type girls, that Holly Hobby style. So some of them were actual coloring book pages from a Holly Hobby coloring book. And I just glued those to some wrapping paper. And then I kept the color on there because I thought that's kind of cool. That would be a nice little background. Then wallpaper. Calendar page. And this was a Dick and Jane calendar. It's not retro. I think this was like 2000, I don't know what year it was. 2012 maybe. 2001, 2002, I don't know. Anyway, I found it at a little garage sale, and it hadn't been used at all. So I just took it apart and stuck that in as a page because I thought that would be a cool little background. Some poetry pages, coloring book pages, some of that stationery again, that letterhead stationery, coloring book, fold out. And that's the first signature. So in this, I did something kind of cool. These are you know, like baseball card holders. Well, these are coin holders. So if you collect coins, you would put your coins in here. But the cool thing is that they're clear plastic little pockets. And so what I did was I just cut out some paper and stuck them in here. Now you can put photos in here. I love putting photos in here, but you'll get a page of this, and then, you know, like I said, I put some paper in, but then there's some of them that I left blank, so you can put them in and they'll show through on both sides. Some golden book pages. Oh no, this is some Holly Hobby wrapping paper, so you can see here's a Holly Hobby book, like a coloring book page, and then here is the wrapping paper that I glued it to. Another Dick and Jane calendar page, poetry, letterhead, Holly Hobby, and then there's that photo coin holder type of page there. And I just think that's so cool because just, I don't know, it's kind of unique. It's kind of interesting. Oh, look at that wrapping paper. Oh, that is so cool. Love it, love it, love it. Dick and Jane calendar page, and this time I sewed two of them together. Another poetry page. This is some wallpaper that has a little pocket. Oh, there we go. Lots of trim from some of my vintage sheets. Another one of those coin holders. And then some of my trim. Oh, look at that wrapping paper. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Some of my little pieces from my trip to Hamilton, Missouri. There's all kinds of different ones. Some actual feed sacks are in my, I just have a whole pile of fabric scraps on my sewing desk. I'll have to show you sometime. And I just grab, as I'm sewing, I just grab the fabric and run it through. So here you go. There's the coin holders again. I just love those. I'm going to try to incorporate those in some of my journals. Oh, look at that wrapping paper. Look at that. Love it, love it, love it. It's funny when I do these and it's been a while since, oh, look at this Holly Hobby note. So it's a note card, one that folds out. Oh, isn't that cute? It's funny because I'll make these journals and then they'll sit like these have, and then I forget what's in them. And so then when I go to show you guys, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot I did that. That's so cool. So here is the Holly Hobby And this is the, so it is 1950, 60, 70, looks like 1976 was this coloring book. And then here's the end right back here. So, and this was made out of an old pillow sham that was probably 1980s or 1970s, and I just felt sorry for it, and so I snatched it from a thrift store and turned it into a journal. So there is, I'm going to call this one the Sunrise Milk. There is the Up the Street and Down, and then the Nursery Tales book. So again, I will put these in my Etsy shop Sunday, October 7th, 9 a.m. Central Time. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Bye.